So yeah, it's not only about dogs. It's about, being able to find people with the same worldview as you do.
You just heard from this week's guest. I'm Christian Gossett.
I'm Chris Simon.
And I'm David Hyde.
Welcome to the Superfan Podcast, where the people who make the comics you love talk about the things they love that aren't comics. Thank you as ever to Low and the Shag for our awesome theme song. This week's episode is brought to you by Fanbase Press and Superfan Promotions. Today, we're talking with cartoonist Elsa Charretier about her love of game-based dog training. Elsa Charretier is a comic book artist and writer. Early in her career, she illustrated numerous books for DC, Marvel, IDW, Random House, Disney, and Lucasfilm, and has now shifted her focus to her independent work, most notably November with Matt Fraction and Love Everlasting with Tom King. In collaboration with P.K. Collinet, co-founder of their studio, Big Head, Little Arms, she's also successfully run 4 large Kickstarter campaigns, created a mini print club, and launched a comics case study YouTube channel. Comics case study, a case study of comics.
Have either of you met Elsa before?
Yes, she won't remember, but we met 10 years ago through a mutual friend, my dear brother Thierry Monet, who was the first person to contact me about foreign language rights for the Red Star. The day we were released, Thierry contacted me and said, "Hey, I want your French language rights." And he was been a brother of mine ever since. We met through him, and also she probably doesn't know this either, but I'm in Mark Andreyko's masterpiece, Love is Love. And I did a poem over a beautiful piece of artwork from the one and only Ian McCaig, another dear brother of mine. Did a beautiful pencil sketch of an angel, and I've got a poem over that. And so she did the cover for that book, so that's another connection.
I met Elsa just about a month ago or so, maybe more now. I don't know. Time has no meaning. But she did the Pop Kill Seasonal Flavors Valentine's Day cover that is probably out on the stands now as this is airing. So, so we had a lovely little correspondence going, and she did a wonderful drawing. But that's the only time I've met her. So
I think I should also mention that we met in Paris. So I want to give everybody that context. I want everybody to hear the Edith Piaf. I want everybody to smell the baguettes. It all happened in Paris.
I've gotten to work with Elsa a couple of times, and she's absolutely one of my favorite cartoonists and just favorite people to work with behind the scenes. I met her for the first time when we launched the Comixology Originals program, and then got to work with her a couple of years later when her and PK did the Kickstarter for Room Service. And then just kind of kept in touch in the years in between, and got her a couple of covers for different clients of Superfan. But just an amazing person. And she sent me an amazing gift a few years ago. After we met the first time, we'd been talking about our favorite movies. And one of my favorite movies is Sunset Boulevard. And so one day I go outside, I get the mail, and there's a package from Elsa, and I'm not sure what this is going to be, and open it up. And here is what she calls a warm-up sketch, what everybody else calls a masterpiece. And it is a scene from Sunset Boulevard. So
What scene? What scene? For those of us who know Sunset Boulevard.
It is one of the final scenes in the movie, perhaps the iconic scene.
Norma on the staircase?
Walking down the stairs.
Yes, Norma Desmond.
She's being led to her arrest.
Nice. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
That's right.
Yes. Norma Desmond. Elsa, thank you so much for being here. And we are very excited about this conversation. I know that we are all lovers of our dog friends. So how did you end up deciding to talk with us about game-based dog training? Of all the things you could have said, why this?
Because it's my passion. It's something that has changed my life for the better. And it's something that I never tire of talking about.
How long have you been doing it?
It's been about 3 years, 2 years and a half.
That's lovely.
Can we assume that you got a new dog and that's what inspired this journey?
I did. My first dog ever. So I've always wanted to have a dog, but my parents wouldn't wouldn't let us have one. And worse, we had a couple of dogs and then they returned them, which is an awful thing to do to a child. Yeah. Traumatic, absolutely traumatic. When I was about, 3 years ago, I adopted my first dog ever, who's called Ash, and who's a Border Collie hunting dog mix. And he was quite a handful. For a first dog, it was not like, this dog shouldn't have been my first dog. He was a very, very, very complicated puppy. And so I, like every dog owner who wants to do things right, I try to find a trainer. I wanted to do some positive training instead of, coercive training. And everything that I encountered along the first 9 months of me having him was horrendous, really, because it was all about corrections, and I hated that. First of all, as a human, I'm a very nonviolent person, and I could see myself being forced into doing stuff that I did not want to do, all because trainers told me that it was just the only thing that would work with this dog, who was very, as they said, stubborn. He's not a stubborn dog. He's strong-willed, if you will. He's a working breed, so he knows what he wants. He knows what he doesn't want. And so after a month and month of just basically crying every time that I would go into a dog training class, I snapped at the trainer, and I snapped. Because he tried, he hung Ash by his leash because he was trying to be friendly with another dog, and he just pulled the leash, and Ash just went in the air. The 4 paws came up in the air and just crashed into the ground.
Oh my God.
And everyone was like, I guess this is how you have to do things with certain dogs. And I lost it completely. I took my dog. I was like, you can keep the money. I don't care. I'm going to do things my way because this is not working out at all. And so I found programs online that were game-based dog training, which is not something that we have in France at all. I want to say some trainers do. Most of them are English trainers who live in France, but we're very, very behind in terms of even horse training for positive reinforcement. And so I found a program that just was everything that I had ever wanted to do. And it worked. That's the thing. That's the coercive training didn't work with Ash, because basically you'd have to hit him to get something out of force.
It's shocking.
It is, but you'd be surprised.
Mm.
Elsie, you said that Ash was a puppy when you got him. How old was he?
He was 4 months old.
Okay.
And I was already his third house, third home, because he was a tough puppy. And people did not realize that no puppy can be tough, but he could not settle at all. He was crazy. He was biting. He was not like typical puppy biting. He was very, not aggression, but he was extremely frustrated all the time. He would lash out at us. And he was just very difficult, barking all the time, not being able to sleep, pulling, the nightmare, basically. And so the first couple of people who had him before us were young adults, and they were not equipped to deal with him.
Wow. I had something similar with my dog, who's currently by my feet right now. I got her at 11 months, and she was returned once, but it was by an elderly woman who could not handle her. Same thing though, like, pulling a lot, like, oh my gosh, like when I first got her, she had, I was getting leash burns. My wrists were bruised, cause she just pulled so hard on everything. And she was very reactive to other dogs, other people. And, but never once did I consider, giving her back or anything like that, because you can see, that as a puppy, it's just, they've been through a lot already in their little lives, and, they just need some help. So I totally hear where you're coming from. For everyone who doesn't know though, can you explain like what game-based training is? I know it's positive reinforcement, but if we can go into like a little more detail about what that entails.
Yeah. So game-based training uses structured play to teach real life skills.
Beautiful.
Basically, the dog learns behaviors while playing fun games with their owner. So instead of forcing the dog to obey or to go through, structural drills and obedience, you make the right choice part of a game the dog wants to play.
I love that.
For instance, if you want to teach your dog to sit before they, say hi, or just shape a sit instead of luring into a sit, with a cookie above their head. So you play a game of tug with the dog, and then you ask them to, let go of the toy. They wait because they want to play again, and they'll try. Maybe if I sit, that's it. They sit, and immediately the game starts again. That's basically, in a nutshell, what game-based dog training is. So the dog, the reinforcement, the food or the toys are part of the play. So the dog learn the skills that you want them to have.
Do you have a favorite game that you like to play with the dog currently?
Well, I love the tug game that I just talked about. I love that one because you get such a snappy sit, like super fast, like Malinois obedience sit when you play that. The bump hits the ground and then you play again. I love it. And what's interesting is that the games are not random. Each one builds a specific behavior, and a lot of the behaviors that we're looking for as owners is recall. Basically we want our dogs to come back when we call them. And there are a variety of games that you can do to teach your dog to come back to you and be happy to come back to you. The first one being chasing you.
Oh, okay. Because I'm really interested in this because my dog has a real problem with recall.
Recall is a lot about connection, and that's what's great about playing games with your dog is that you build a connection so that your dog sees you as the most fun thing around. Mm-hmm. Paying attention to you is super fun. It's going to be a lot more fun than, trying to dig a hole or, and when you build that connection and you call your dog, if you've done, the right steps and, appropriate distractions, your dog wants to come back to you. Ash can be field away. I call him. He comes back, blazing through the fields. He's happy to come back. It's not a chore or, oh my God, I have to go back to mom or fun is over and all that stuff. He's just excited to come back to me because we've built that bond, and we've built also the fact that when you come back to me, that doesn't mean that the fun is over. You come back to me, you get a cookie or we play for a bit and then you can go back out there again.
So I'm going to ask your advice now. So I play fetch with my dog. She loves playing fetch. It's like her favorite thing in the whole wide world. Like if there's any ball around, if there's a squeaky toy, anything, and if somebody else throws the ball, she'll always bring it back to me. It doesn't matter who's throwing it. It just comes back to me. So it's great in that regard, and she does, come when I call her. However, there's like certain circumstances where it does not matter, like how many times I call her, she will not come back. And that's if she sees another dog and wants to go play, or if it's another person that she knows and loves. So she will take off like a shot and like just run into the street, across the way to go say hi, to somebody else. And she will ignore all of my calls. And I do not know how to solve that problem. That is the only thing that I cannot figure out.
It's all about the appropriate level of distraction. Picture a kid. You have a 3-year-old. Goes into kindergarten, does great at school. And then you ask them a university level question. They're not going to be able to answer it. Asking your dog to recall off of another dog, if they love dogs, is asking a 3-year-old a university level question. They're not able to answer it because it's too hard. So what you do in terms of training is, if coming when called when there's nothing in the house and, she's bored and she comes to you, that's a 1 out of 10. Coming from another dog is a 10. You have to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 until you can get a 10. And all of these little steps are things that you can absolutely do that are not that hard to do. They just require consistency and patience. And more importantly, being aware of the level that your dog is at that moment.
Right. Okay.
Failure in dog training means this was too hard. It's never about the dog being, and I'm not saying you said that, but it's not about, this dog won't listen, this dog is too stubborn, this dog is dumb, not smart enough. It's never about that. It's about the dog not having mastered or understood what you're asking of them.
Yeah, that's so great because she's so smart. I know she is. And she listens, I would say 85% of the time she listens.
That's pretty good already.
Yeah, I'm like, man, if I could just get these like last 2 components and, and it's true though. I will fully admit it's just time. Like I need the time to actually do it, and that's
dog training requires a lot of time and effort from the human. Yeah. Most definitely. The quick fixes that you see online or even, trainers who will tell you like, give me 5 sessions and you can recall your dog off a deer. No way. Unless you have like a very low drive dog who doesn't care about anything at all. No, it's easy. No, it's not hard, but it's not always easy.
Right.
Elsa, I love you talked about imagining your dog in kindergarten because we have a dog who was misidentified as being a really aggressive dog when we adopted him, but he's simply a very reactive dog. At home, he's a great pupil, A+. But out on the street, he's a different dog because he's so reactive. And so in the house, he's so great doing all the different games and training that we've done. And outdoor, he's just like struggling to get by, right? Like he's doing so much better. But, we live in a neighborhood where a lot of people walk their dogs or go running with their dogs. And he has a lot of phobias. Phobias include any man with glasses and a beard, a man with glasses, a beard, wearing a hat. And so just imagine if you are walking with this reactive dog and a man wearing glasses who has a beard and a hat is running at you with multiple dogs. Our dog will go insane. And occasionally I can keep him with me and he will listen, but sometimes he will go way over a threshold. So I'm thinking you need to come visit Los Angeles for a little while.
So the what you have with your dog is not a dog training problem. It's a behavioral problem. Those are 2 very different things. You'll have people with dogs with behavior problems go see a trainer and say, my dog bark at the people with glasses. And then the trainer will teach you how to heel. That doesn't matter. You know, you can't teach out fear, you know, or excitement for that matter. It's a completely different branch of training, and it's not training, it's behavior. So in terms of what you can do with dogs that are fearful or even, you know, aggressive towards dog or humans is counter conditioning. Helping them see that the glasses are okay. You know, a man with glasses is not going to hurt you. That seems very simple said like that, but basically that's it. It's counter conditioning that you do with play, with treat, or anything that your dog loves. It can be, you know, it can be anything really. My dog loves to play soccer. Like he plays soccer. He takes a ball in his mouth. He has another one at his feet, at his paws, and he just plays soccer. That's his like biggest reinforcement is doing that. It's like, what the hell? I don't question it. That's what he loves.
Sure.
I've got a friend with a very, very reactive dog. He's an aggressive dog. He's bitten multiple times. He's a dangerous dog. And she's been able to do some counter conditioning with him. She's done an amazing work with him. He's not going to be a normal dog ever, but she can now take him on walks if she chooses her walks and all of that, because she's done a lot of counter conditioning and a lot of choice-based training, which is another facet of positive training, is giving the dog agenda. They can make the choice to do this or that. Nothing is going to be forced upon them. For example, Ash is he's a Border Collie mix, so they have a lot of, you know, concerns for the environment. You know, anything that moves, anything, you know, leaf. Oh my God, that leaf wasn't there yesterday. What, you know, it's evil. And he developed a phobia of city noises. Like suddenly, there was one big like boom at a point when we were in a city center, and he just like became terrified of the city. And at first, I was like, I need to, you know, take him into town, so I don't have any choice. I realized that was not going to happen. He would just like full stop, would not go further. I didn't want to drag him because he was scared. So for a while, we didn't do anything. After a while, when he had, you know, settled, we did some counter conditioning. I would have him in my car, which is a safe space for him, open the window and have, you know, city noises coming in. He was still safe. You know, he was not in harm's way. I did a lot of reinforcement with cookies, with have high value rewards and all of that, until he realized, oh my God, every time I hear this noise, like this metallic noise, I get a cookie. That's all that happens. I'm comfortable now. Okay, now we can open the door maybe, and we do the same thing until he's comfortable enough to choose to get down up, you know, come out of the boot, which he did not want to do anymore. So he chose that for himself. Now I feel comfortable. Okay, let's go and explore.
I wonder if that would work with fireworks.
Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, yeah. It works with everything and anything that your dog is afraid. The longer they have been afraid, the harder it is. Mm-hmm. Because it's become, you know, ingrained in them. Yeah. And also it's... you have to practice, you know, fireworks, you know, on the TV, very low sound, and then a bit higher and higher and higher, so that they get to a level that they are, you know, comfortable with.
You know, it was so funny. I was telling these two about this recently. We don't get a lot of rain or thunderstorms here in California, and we had one. And, you know, my dog was freaking out at thunderstorms, the booms and stuff like that. And what was hilarious is that I put on a white noise machine to kind of block it out for her. And the white noise was thunderstorms. And she was fine with the white noise. And I was like, how is this a thing? But yeah, it's pretty fun.
And there are choices to make also, because you can't really train for every single thing in life. Like you don't have a lot of thunderstorms. Okay, so once in a while your dog's going to be terrified. That's
right.
It's heartbreaking, but that's okay. If you lived in an area with thunderstorms every week, then I would advise to do some training.
Yeah.
Terrified of, fireworks. We have that once a year here. Honestly, I'm not going to spend months and months on counter conditioning for one night a year. He comes into bed with us and he's a bit scared. We hug him and then it goes away the next day.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny because we get fireworks twice a year out here, New Year's Eve and 4th of July, of course. But she barks. It's not that she's scared. Like if she was scared, it'd be one thing. If she like hid under the bed or got needed cuddles or something. But man, she just barks her head off for just
out of
hours.
Fear.
Yeah, out of fear for sure. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, aside from just giving her sedatives so that she isn't so anxious about it.
So, there are coats, thunderstorm coats for dogs.
Oh yeah, I have one of those.
Jackets.
Yeah, they're called like thunder. Yeah, like a thunder jacket or something like that. Yes, it's really tight. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like a weight blanket basically, and supposedly it's very effective.
Yeah. I do have one of those.
That's something to try.
Yeah. I think I haven't really tried to do anything about it aside from over New Year's, just going somewhere remote where there are no fireworks.
That's
which is
better. If you're, dedicated to having her not freaking out, that's
right.
That's
and also enjoying a New Year's Eve, instead of dealing with that. So that'd be nice.
Elsa, I have a question. Do you find it, what have you found as you've been doing this with Ash about how many different games you can play at once, right? Is it like, do you focus on one behavior? Do you stack it a few different behaviors, a few different games, let's say? How does that work?
So it's a progression. Most of the time, we're focused on one behavior that we want.
Like recall, for example?
Yeah, let's say recall, for example. Or even more different. I have cats, and Ash, when he came to us, was very reactive with cats, which is another surprise. We didn't know about that. And so now they're okay, but we spend a lot of time working on that. And one of the games that we did was, engage, disengage. So I would... we try to suppress behaviors with dogs. Behaviors that we have instilled in them. Dogs are the way they are because humans, intervened and made them helpful for this or that, situation, whether it was hunting or just guarding and all of that, or, chasing rodents. And now today we don't want that anymore. In the instance of a cat, for example, you want your dog to ignore your cat. That's what you want, neutrality, ultimately. But for a dog like him, a moving thing is extremely compelling. So the game that we played was, you come with me, and we're going to put a kibble next to the cat. You can go to the cat. I'm not telling you don't go near the cat. You take the kibble, you get a chance to look at the cat, and then we go away. You come with me and we go away. But the reward is going to the cat. It's not coming back to me. So you get to do what you want. And after a while, he just okay, I've seen the cat. Good, enough. Maybe, we can do something else. We can go out and play. So that's the first thing that we did to have, disengagement from the cats. The behavior that I wanted was neutrality. So he was able to go there, take the kibble, and leave the cat to come with me. I was not calling him. He left on his own, volition to come with me. So that was the first step. Second step was we walk past the cat. You can look at the cat, and then you look at me, and then you get a reward. So all of these were games that we played together. We started with going to the cat because that was easier, because he really wanted to go to the cat. But we played those two and then another game at the same time, basically. But everything was about that same skill that I wanted to have in the end, which was neutrality towards the cats. So I tend to focus on one or two skill that I want, but then they require different games. If that makes sense. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And now, of course, I'm fascinated to know what the cat thought of all this.
She was very offended. But it took a while, and I got lots of trainers telling me, because Ash with his first home got a chance to chase the cats a lot, and with practice comes perfection. So every trainer told me your dog's going to be dangerous with the cats. You should never leave them unattended. And of course, I'm still very careful, with them. I still supervise their interactions. But no, it was possible. We did it. It took a while, but we did it.
I think it's patience. I think patience is like one of those huge, huge things that a lot of people do not have.
Absolutely.
They want it just,
Right.
They want their dog trained. They want it like that. And if they can't do it, and if they have to put effort into it, then, they give the dog back.
And many people parent in the same way.
That's exactly it. Is that people refuse to think as dog training as child raising. It's not that.
It really is not.
And it takes a while if you want things done, well. And of course, there are different levels where you want to take that. If you have a dog that's, not that hard, you just want not pulling on the leash and just not go to every single dog that you cross path with. It's not that hard, in a few months, if you're consistent, it can happen, really. But if you have a more difficult dog, if you have a higher standards of things that you want to do, for example, my ultimate goal with Ash is to have him not, being able to see a deer across a field and not go for it. That's extremely hard for him, for a dog like him. We'll get there eventually, but I know, and I'm willing to, do the work because I'm passionate about it. But I know it's going to take a long, long time because it's doctorate level dog training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also another thing that people have a hard time understanding is that a dog is how he is because he's a result of the training he's had or not had. Dogs are not, well, they have their personalities, but their behavior is their sum of their training, whether intended or not. Every moment in a dog's life is training. Just like for us, we get to practice bad behavior, and that's training that it's okay. We can do that, It's the same things for dogs. And so people refuse responsibility, and they say, oh, my dog is just too hard. I've had him for 5 years. He still can't, still jumps on people. That's, my dog is too complicated. No, the dog has learned that they can jump on people. And it was your responsibility if you wanted that, to not be a behavior. You could have taught them not to. It's never the dog's fault. Never.
I agree with that.
And so it's it's a responsibility it's a lot to admit. I'm responsible for my dog behavior.
I think, absolutely true. And I know I'm not really that consistent, which I, have problems with when I get puppy eyes.
The hardest.
But have you ever? Okay, so I'm guilty of compromise, is what I'm guilty of. So, as I mentioned, my dog was like really just uncontrollable on a leash. However, with routine, she's gotten a lot better. So she knows the neighborhood, if she knows the people in the neighborhood, and if she knows the walk she's going on, she's great. There is just, no deviations for her. However, she is a herder, so she likes to herd. So essentially, she walks around me in circles, which is difficult when you're on a leash. So I have stopped trying to train it out of her, and I have just thought, you know what? It's good enough that she doesn't react to things anymore. We can walk past dogs. We can walk past people. We can walk past squirrels. And it's hard for her. She lets out some whines, but she maintains her walking. She doesn't freak out anymore. Right. So in return, I let her herd me and I just, do the leash over my head the whole time we walk. And she just walks around me in circles
and that's
as we go.
If you're, there are no set rules for how dogs should behave. It's all about what you are comfortable with and what you want. Some people, I go to shelters to do some dog walking, and I let dog jump on me because I don't mind. It's going to be the next owner's problem if they don't want that. A lot of people don't mind that, and it's okay. People tell you a dog shouldn't do this, a dog should do that. No, it's about what you're comfortable with. A dog shouldn't go up on the couch. If you don't want to, that's okay. But it has zero impact on their behavior or how they are as a dog if they go up. These grand notions that your dog's not going to respect you if they sleep on the bed with you. My dog has the utmost respect for me, and he sleeps in bed with me. So, they're not, you should do this, you should do that. Never. If you don't mind your dog hurting you, well, let her hurt you. And also, that's another great thing, is that you realize that she's a herder. She needs to herd. It's an outlet for her. She needs that. Hunting dogs need to hunt. It can be controlled hunting. Like I do a lot of men trailing with Ash. We do a lot of bull hunting. I hit his ball in the forest, and he just sniffs it out. And he's great at it. He's wonderful, and it's fulfilling for him. A dog like that, even an off-leash walk for an hour is not enough. He has these, genetic instincts that need to be fulfilled.
Right.
So I couldn't encourage your dog. You can do herding with your dog, like urban herding. That's something you can do.
Urban herding.
That's such a beautiful approach. Instead of just having disdain for this behavior, for this need of the dog, to find a way, because you care and because you love the dog, to put it into their life, Yeah. Give them an outlet, like you say.
Exactly. It's really about them, you want the people in your life that you love to be fulfilled. Yeah. And some dogs will just require a 20-minute walk. I have a friend who has a dog, like after 20 minutes, the dog I want to go home. That's it. That's it for me. It would be counterproductive to say, oh no, the internet says I need to walk my dog for an hour, so let's walk. No, she doesn't need that. But if another dog needs something else, then we should, as much as we try, give that to them. I had a foster dog for a couple of months, a puppy, and he was a guardian breed, Pyrenees, and I am used to go for long walks, so I wanted to take him for long walks. He could not care less for that. He just wanted to stay in front of the house and look at people going by. And if, sometimes when people would come too close to the gate, just bark. well, 2-3 times, and then lay down again for another few hours. And that was, that's what he wanted to do. So I just let him do that.
That's awesome.
Now, Elsa, do you do most of the training or all of the training? Is PK involved in the training at all?
He's not. He's involved in the cuddles. Cuddles. No, he's not. He will, sometimes he will play with him. He plays a lot with him, but there's no structured, training going on. But that's okay. That's better, actually, for me, because dog training is very mechanical skill, and the way that you move your body, the way that you deliver reinforcement, and the way that you reward your dog is very precise. If you don't do it as it should be done, the dog gets confused because the message is, not clear. So if you have a trainer that does, the things as they should be done, because I have learned, and then another trainer, another pet parent tries and does it differently and not as well, then the dog's confused, and then, their drive tends to lowers. They disengage because they don't understand. So if PK was super interested and willing to really learn how it was done and all of that, I would welcome that. I would love that. But he's not, and so I think it's best that he sticks to cuddles.
Hilarious.
I also think that dogs want to communicate with us. Like they don't when they don't understand what's going on, it adds stress. It adds stress and anxiety to their lives. So they'd rather understand what's going on than not understand. And when they're trained, when they know commands, when they know what they're supposed to do, when they know what's expected of them, it calms them down. So I think that training by one person is usually a very good platform, for a bonding experience where your dog understands what's expected of them. They know the routines. They know what's coming next. They understand. And so they're calmer. They're calmer and, they're more prone to obeying other people as well, because, it's a familiar type of thing. Of course, we say that, and then, my dog brings the ball back to me no matter who's throwing it. So,
yeah, I think that's part of it too, is that just like people, dogs react so differently to different people, It is fascinating. Sometimes, just like with people, you'll have a different relationship. Like my dog, I had this wonderful little terrier that I rescued, and he absolutely loved, he would do anything I wanted. Anything I wanted, he would do. And we had this natural relationship, but other people he was like you said, he was a guard dog as well. He was a little guardian terrier. And it was wonderful because I was living out in a house in the desert and far away from anything. And so there were lots of animals and strangers and, and he would just do his little sit down in a very precise seated position and throw his head back and just bark this very special alarm bark that he wouldn't do at any other time. And I knew who was good and who was not to be trusted because of my little terrier. It was great.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
Olvera Candles and Spirits presents the Joe Calavera Radio Hour. Joe Calavera, punisher of predators, friend of the friendless, and danger to the dangerous, has 48 hours to crack the case or back to the crypt he goes. Join us each week for another daring adventure of our undead PI. This week, our dead desperado is called upon to find the missing wife of a prominent bank president. Is it a case of a lost spouse? Or did the dear missus make a withdrawal from her honey's bank that she couldn't pay back? Tune in as our skull-faced flatfoot attempts to solve the case of the withdrawn wife.
And there's also another thing in terms of, game-based dog training. It's called pattern games, and I wanted to mention that because it's about predictability, about making the dog feel safe, about a game replacing panic when it happens. So pattern game is a small routine that the dog understands. The most famous one is the 1, 2, 3 game. So basically, at 3, the dog gets a reward, often like a cookie or treat. And so you teach the dog to understand that on 3 comes a reward. So there's predictability. When your dog knows that, you can navigate different situations where your dog is either lost or too excited or scared, because they know when the countdown starts, 1, 2, 3, they get a cookie. And so they focus on you during the 1, 2, and then they get 3. And for a dog that's reactive to other dogs, for example, you can do that once the pattern has been established and the dog understands it. You can walk past the dog, and your dog, instead of being very anxious of what's going to happen, I don't know, is it going to come to me? Am I going to have to go to them? What's going to happen? I'm terrified. Tell me what to do. You can start the countdown 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and your dog follows you because they know, okay, now this is what's happening now. We're doing that. I don't have to worry about the dog. Don't have to worry about the environment stressing me out. We're doing this pattern game that we've done over and over and over again, and I know what's coming, and that the stress disappears.
Wow, I have to start doing that. That's a really good one.
It's a great game.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Elsa, you mentioned the precision and the mechanical aspect of, it's like it's very specific what you have to do when you're doing these games. Are there other mistakes that people make when they're playing these dog training games, when they're using them?
Wanting to help the dog.
Go on.
Not wanting to let them make a mistake. So for example, what's often done in game-based dog training is to not control the dog, but to control the reinforcement. Because when you control the dog, you take the choice out of the equation. The dog is on a leash. They wanted to go out for that toy. When you ask them for a sit, they can't because the leash holds them. There is no choice. So the dog learns to think, but not as freely, in my mind.
Right.
So, for example, helping your dog would be you put them in a sit, and then they want to go. You put your hand in front of them. Don't go. And then you consider that a win because they haven't left to get the toy. That's not helping the dog, because then it becomes unclear. Well, it's better to let the dog make the mistake, reset the game, and then have them make the right choice. So what you would do, for example, and to control the reinforcement, you would need to control the toy. Let's say you put your dog in a sit, and you want to work on, ignoring a toy that you put maybe like 2 meters away. You stand next to the toy, your dog is over on the left, 2 meters away in a sit. And you want them to wait until you can release them to the toy. If your dog can't, because they haven't, understood the thing, they're gonna want to go up and go to the toy. If you hold the toy and don't allow them to have the toy, without telling them to sit again, without telling them no, without going them and replacing them, the dog, after a while, is going to understand, this hasn't worked. What can I do to make this work? Eventually, they're gonna sit, and then they get released. So they have had a chance to make the mistake. The play has stopped. And then by making the right choice, they start the game again. Another example is for, threshold training. for, if you don't want your dog bolting out the door. I did that with a friend's dog. She had zero training. So she was not used to learning, because that's the thing. When you teach a dog that way, they learn to learn. And it's incredible how fast they go after that. So she didn't know how to learn. Didn't know about reinforcement, none of that. So what you do, I put her, in a sit, and then I opened the door. She lifted her butt to come out. I just closed the door. Didn't say anything. Didn't say sit, didn't say no, didn't, try to put my body in front of her so she wouldn't come out. I just didn't say anything. Okay, so she sat again. I opened the door. She stood up again. I closed the door. And we did that maybe 8 or 9 times until I was able to fully open the door and release her. Because she understood by herself without, me giving her the answer or preventing her from making the mistake. She understood that by herself. And then it took one time. The next day, when I went there to open the door, she sat.
Wow.
Because they understand.
Yeah.
We have to allow them to understand and allow them to make mistakes.
When you were fostering the dog, did the other dog enjoy playing games as part of the training?
Yes, he did. And he was a very different breed. Guardian dogs tend to be, they're the chill dogs that stay with the sheep all day. So they're very independent dogs, different, from the Border Collies who, shepherds who want to work with the humans. The Guardian dogs work independently. So they're typically not dogs that you will see in obedience trials or agility or stuff like that. But he loved food. So that was a huge help for me. So yeah, I taught him threshold. I taught him, to wait before eating his meal. And he loved that too. He was super excited.
That's awesome. This is giving me so much, motivation. Now I'm like, wow.
If motivation is great. And I mean, if you want to do more training, that's great. But I think it's most of all, it's important to see our dogs as creatures who are capable of learning and who do what they do because they have been taught that way. And I think if people understood that more, we would have less dog in shelters.
Yeah.
Elsa, you mentioned a couple, when you first discovered this, you were watching some videos. Were there some particularly good videos that people listening should check out?
So there's this trainer whose program I subscribed to for 2 years, who changed my life. Her name's Susan Garrett, and she has a YouTube channel where she talks about all of that. Very prolific channel. There are hundreds of videos on there, all very useful. The channel is called Dogs Dat. I will give you the link. And she has free games also, crate games, all of that to teach your dog to love their crate.
Mm.
Yeah, usually, it's so funny because I crate trained my dog when I first got her, and it was a lifesaver, to be honest. Now, I mean, she can go into one and be fine with it, but I don't. There's no reason at this point, because she's such a Velcro dog. She just sticks right by me for everything. So, and she sleeps in my bed. There's no reason for the crate. But David, you crate train your dog, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You've had good success.
I mean, he still sleeps in our bed, but it's very helpful just in terms of setting the stage for him. Again, he's very well trained in the house. It's really when go outside. He's not a dog that, like, I miss taking long dog walks. He does not. He needs to go do his business and return home. And in fact, often he'll let us know, like, it's time to turn back now, and it's even shorter than he normally does. So he lived kind of a traumatic life before we got him. He was 2.5, and had spent over a year during COVID in a shelter. And previous to that, he had been trained as a guard dog. So he has all of the like negative responses around seeing other dogs, and we've made huge inroads with him. But again, I feel like we have to be sort of generous with ourselves, still try to work with him on his journey, but also just sort of read the situation. And he is going to react to other dogs in a very specific way because of what he went through.
Yeah, and sometimes management is a very good option as well. Sometimes it's not about, training a behavior out of the dog if you don't want to, or if you can't, because sometimes you can't. Managing it is also, a valid option. For some dogs, my friend who has a very aggressive dog, no one comes into her house. That's management. Because she chose to keep that dog, and she knows that means that no one's gonna, no dinner party. That's okay with her.
Yeah. It's so funny because I've known David for quite a long time now, and I've known him through 2 of his dogs now. And while it's so funny to see, David with the 2 different dogs, because his first dog was just such a lump of cuddles, and Chubsley, right? Chubs. And to see the difference between that last dog and this dog and how you handle both of them, I have a great admiration, because a lot of people, I think, would have given up on Mav at this point, and you guys have worked with him. And I think, Mav is a wonderful dog. And when we're over there and when you have parties and stuff, like, he's come a long way. So I gotta give David credit for his training methods with him and his wife, because
my Tara's amazing, and I joked that she should have been the co-host for this episode, but she wants to stay behind the scenes. Mav is sort of sad because Mav actually really does like people. Like Chris would often come over, and we would plot on the what we're going to do for the podcast, and he'd be so happy to see them. It's really the chaos factor when somebody comes in and he doesn't know who they are, and when things stack for him. I mean, he's literally jumped through the window of our bedroom to try to save me from my good friend who I'm having a cocktail with in the backyard. So, we still have some work to do for sure.
And by all of that, I don't mean to say that we are perfect either. We have a lot of issues. Ash gets insane when people come into the house. So that's something we work on too, And I think that it's very commendable that you stuck by your difficult dog. It's great to know that when you make a commitment to an animal, they're not a thing that you can, bring back to the store.
Yeah, I've only had 3 dogs. One dog I had growing up, and that dog ran away. And his name was Sport, R.I.P. But it was shocking to me just how different these 2 dogs were. And like Chubsley would love to, first of all, he would sit on our front porch with his paws crossed and just wanted to be the mayor, and was super excited to have people over. And if he did get sort of, not quite wound up, but he loved to like sort of self-soothe by like running laps with us in the front yard. Maverick, however, would, and we have hedges that with fencing in the middle of the fence, so it's almost impossible to get through the hedge. Maverick would look and like Michael Jordan, like take a crazy leap, and he escaped like 7 times in the first 2 weeks that we had him. And we live on a pretty busy block. And I did not think he was going to make it. So, again, he's had a huge journey. I was just thinking about in a fun coincidence, Elsa. This will almost certainly be the finale of season 2 of the Superfan Podcast, and season 1 ended with talking to the cartoonist of Mutts. And I love like this random echo where we'll have to try to think for season 3 what dog related content we might be able to have in store. Do you do a lot of pictures of your dog or not so much?
You mean taking pictures?
No, or drawing them.
Not really. No. I'm too busy training him. No, not really. Dogs are hard to draw.
They are. They're very hard to draw.
But a funny thing is that in November, the book that I did with Matt, one of the character ends up with the dog at the end because Matt is a huge dog lover too. He has like 5 or 6 of them. And I drew M, our character, with her dog, and it's basically my dog now. He's the exact same, which was, serendipitous.
Do you feel like there's a sort of dog community? Like, I think one reason why Chris and I've like been good friends these last few years is like the dog connection. Do you find yourself like talking to other dog people at parties or conventions or whatever?
You have no idea. No idea. I have to rein it in. Because I'm trying not to become that crazy dog lady, but I am.
Yeah, just lean into it. It's fine.
Yeah. I have to find my people. I look for them in parties, and then I sat with them. No, yeah. My friends, all of my friends that I have now, and we have a very, tight-knit group of friends, are all girls that I met through dogs. Mm. There is something about the challenges of owning a dog, a sports breed, that is, that you can share with people, that you can, and, as far as I'm concerned, he's my kid. I don't have kids. And for a lot of my friends, their dogs are their kids. So we never tire of talking about them ever. But yeah, and also it's when people train the way that I like to train, there are people that are, empathetic people that see the world a certain way that I align with. So it's a lot easier to find, same-spirited people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not only about dogs. It's about, being able to find people with the same worldview as you do.
Yep.
And not all dog people are like that. I've had many arguments with people that were dog people, but not the same kind as I am.
That's a great point, because I have to say, one of the challenges of walking in the particular neighborhood that we're in, there are 2 neighbors who often walk with their dogs off leash. And to me, it seems like the most selfish thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I'm just trying to keep my dog safe and your dog safe and set clear boundaries. And so frequently because it's such a busy neighborhood, it sets up some really unfortunate moments.
Yeah, that's terrible. People
and it's a very different kind of dog owner, right? Or the dog owner who is just on their phone and not paying attention to their dog or their environment is my least favorite person, other than the person in their car on their phone not paying attention.
Yeah,
no, that's terribly selfish. It's really, and often people who have their dog off leash like that, and don't not care about it, is because they haven't taught their dog to walk properly on leash. So they pull, and they think it's better to just let them off leash because it's less of a bother. But yeah, that's an awful thing. And the day that, if your dog is like a bully, bully breed and you try to do things right, your dog is, on the leash and another, like golden retriever rushes your dog and gets bitten by your dog, it's your responsibility. And that's what drives me nuts.
Yep.
It shouldn't be. You did the right things, but it's hard to educate people.
We're going a long way with this podcast, though. I'll tell you that. We're good. People who love dogs are going to listen to this episode and be very happy. Yes, absolutely.
Elsa, before we let you go, I know it's getting late for you. Thank you for joining us. Is there anything that you wish more people knew about dogs or about training your dog or game-based dog training?
Yes. Positive reinforcement works for every single dog out there. It's science. It works every time. If it doesn't work, it's because it's done wrong.
All right. There it is.
Hear that all too often. Oh, that doesn't work with my dog. Oh, but that doesn't work for that type of breed. No, it works for every kind of dog out there.
I love that. I really do.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been very exciting. I
Thank
can
you
hear my
so much
dog
for having
playing.
me.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not often that I get to talk about that on a podcast.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we do.
For the opportunity.
You bet. Anytime.
Yeah.
Chris Simon, did you know that every episode of the Superfan Podcast is accompanied by a cocktail, a mocktail, and a dessert recipe inspired by the guests and the conversation? The recipes will be in the Superfan Signal newsletter.
So if you want the full recipe, go on over to the Superfan Signal Substack, and you will find it sent out with the show notes of this episode.
All right, thanks everybody for joining. This has been the Superfan Podcast. We'll catch you next week.
The Superfan Podcast is a production of Superfan Media. This episode was edited by Bryant Dillon with production help by Fanbase Press. The Superfan Podcast logo is designed by Chriswell Lappin, whose design work can be seen at chriswelllappin.com. The theme song was written by friend of the podcast Dan Schulman and performed by Low in the Shag.
And now, a word about our sponsors. Fanbase Press is the media award-winning and an Eisner and a Harvey Awards-nominated comic book publisher and geek culture website. Fanbase Press produces new and distinctive works, as well as daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum and give voice to the themes, ideals, and people that make geekdom so exceptional.